Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live today. It is a lovely Thursday afternoon. It is July 10th, a Thursday. Welcome back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have really a lot of bombshell breaking news to go through, stuff that I was frankly not expecting. There are things developing really regarding this ongoing situation with Jeffrey Epstein that's going to blow your mind. Now, we're going to get to that in a minute here. First off, we have a couple big stories today. We're going to break all of this down. First off, the radically progressive federal judiciary has once again overstepped their bounds, directly defying the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court from just a couple weeks ago. And now they are, this federal judge in the radically progressive federal judiciary is issuing rulings on President Trump's Birthright Citizenship executive order in direct defiance of the U.S. Supreme Court. We're going to break that entire situation down. That happened just a couple hours ago. Also, ICE officer assaults on ICE officers have continued to go through the roof. They have now reached a 700% increase. Guys, in the last year, in the last 12 months, there is a 700% increase in assaults on federal ICE officers. And so now ICE, Tom Homan, the DHS, they are getting ready to go absolutely scorched earth. We're going to deep dive that entire situation. Also, big things are cooking. And also, like I said, now we're going to talk about the Epstein thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the big breaking news, allegedly breaking news of the day. This stuff is just starting to come out. Allegedly, President Trump himself is absolutely furious, enraged, livid, if you will, over the handling of this entire Jeffrey Epstein situation. And once again, all of this is coming out today. It's happening right this very moment. So this is why we are live. Allegedly, President Trump has personally directed Pam Bondi, the head of the DOJ, to release the Epstein files immediately. Evidently, he is not happy with the way this entire situation has unfolded over the last 3 days. He is furious at how this has gone down, and now he is raging out at Pam Bondi, and he's saying, listen, Bondi, you got to release the files. We got to put this behind us. So we're going to break that down later in today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you are new to the broadcast, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like today's video, today's live broadcast. If you're here, say, hey, yo, what's up? Let's get right into the show. First off, we're going to talk about this birthright citizenship situation. A federal judge earlier this morning, just a couple hours ago, has blocked President Trump's executive order-based birthright citizenship ban for all newborn infants in America born to illegal alien parents, testing the lower court powers. The Justice Department had planned to begin enforcing this landmark immigration policy as early as July 27th, just a couple weeks from now. Let's read through this. As you all remember, a couple months ago, this is 3-4 months ago, President Trump signed an executive order overturning birthright citizenship. Okay, well, this is now flash forward. Maybe this was 2 weeks ago. President Trump's executive order got hung up in the radically progressive federal judiciary for months, went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court issued an interesting ruling. This was breaking news as of 2 weeks ago. What the Supreme Court said was, all right, listen, we are going to issue an extreme limitation of these universal injunctions, of these nationally sweeping universal injunctions. They didn't say yes or no on President Trump's birthright citizenship executive order. They didn't isolate that and give a yes or no. They will in October. October, the Supreme Court is looking at the constitutional merits of President Trump's birthright citizenship executive order. But for now, what they've said in the meantime, it's going to be 2.5 or 3 months until they actually look at that individual case specifically. What they've said is, hey, listen, all of these nationally sweeping universal injunctions, they're too far. They're beyond the pale. You are overstepping your judicial boundaries. They shut it down. Okay, what does that mean in essence for the time being? That means that now President Trump's executive order regarding birthright citizenship is the law of the land for every state in the country, unless, however, there are actually some states that have passed state level legislation mandating birthright citizenship is in effect. 22 states have done that. Okay, so I want to show you a map real quick. As a consequence of all this that's gone on President Trump's executive order, the Supreme Court ruling maybe 2 weeks ago, what this means is that President Trump's executive order is, in essence, in effect, for the time being, for every state that is not directly mentioned here. So Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, blah, 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 all of these yellow or orange yellow states here, they have state level legislation saying, Trump, we've got state level legislation. Birthright citizenship is in effect. Okay, but for every other state, birthright citizenship is not in effect. That's the rule of the land until October, at which point the Supreme Court is going to take a look at that specifically. Okay, kind of a complex situation. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that. But that's kind of the precursor knowledge now. A federal judge, this is this morning, back to this morning, a radically progressive federal judge in the great state of New Hampshire has blocked President Trump's executive order banning birthright citizenship and has granted nationwide class certification status to all newborn infants born to illegal aliens by the order on Thursday earlier today. A U.S. District Judge Joseph LaPlante said that he will issue a written ruling by the end of the day, further explaining his decision. So he doesn't even have an explanation yet. This radically progressive federal judge, he just issued the ruling, and then he'll say, I'm going to explain it later. Don't worry about it. The injunction also narrows down the scope of the class to infants, removing parents from the case. Guys, once again, the Supreme Court explicitly, about 2 weeks ago said, hey, listen, federal judges, you got to stop doing this. You're not playing by the rules here. You are overstepping your boundaries. Guess what? They're still doing it. They're trying at least. And so now this is going to have to go to the Supreme Court, I guess. In this order, LaPlante ruled that deprivation of citizenship as held by the 14th Amendment and changes in longstanding policy would create irreparable harm. Yeah, I mean, it would create irreparable harm to the children of illegal aliens, to what's called them anchor babies. Yeah, and by harm, I mean they would not be given U.S. citizenship, and they should not be given U.S. citizenship. Yeah. Still, it is almost sure to be quickly appealed by the Trump administration. It comes after the Supreme Court reviewed the case earlier this year and ruled, this is what I was talking about, 6-3 in late June, that plaintiffs seeking nationwide relief must file their cases as a class action lawsuit, narrowing the instances in which lower federal courts can issue so-called universal injunctions. The Supreme Court smacked down all these universal injunctions. Still, the lower federal courts are trying to do it anyway. That high court ruling narrowly focused on the authority of lower courts, and justices did not wade into the legality of Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, which served as the legal pretext for the case. So once again, this is what I said a moment ago. The Supreme Court has not issued a definitive ruling on President Trump's executive order interpretation of birthright citizenship as it relates to the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. They are going to do that in October, a couple months from now. So right now, at the moment, we're kind of have this weird, we're kind of in purgatory. We're in birthright citizenship purgatory. A little bit is probably the best way to look at it. We don't know where we're going, which way, that way, this way, until October, at which point the U.S. Supreme Court is going to really determine what is the proper and correct way to interpret the 14th Amendment regarding birthright citizenship. Trump's order, signed on the first day of his second White House term, directs all U.S. government agencies to refuse to issue citizenship documents to children born to illegal aliens. We keep using the term immigrants, illegal immigrants, aliens, not immigrants, aliens, invaders. I like the word invaders, who do not have at least one parent who is an American citizen or lawful permanent resident. The order, signed by Trump on his very first day in office, was immediately challenged in January by more than 22 U.S. states and immigrants' rights groups, which argued the effort to end birthright citizenship was both unconstitutional and unprecedented, and threatened more than 100 years of legal precedent. Once again, we're gonna have a definitive answer on what is going on with birthright citizenship this October. And by the way, guys, this is going to be in October when they actually weigh in on this. This is going to be one of the most consequential Supreme Court rulings, Supreme Court determinations in U.S. history. Are we going to keep on rewarding illegal aliens that sneak in the country and start popping out babies. You understand? Okay, if you're an illegal, if you're some non-American person, you've never been to America, and you say, hold up, wait a minute. If I get pregnant, I sneak into the United States and I start popping out babies, all of the babies de facto, by default, get U.S. citizenship. And then because now their children has U.S. citizenship, that means I get to stay here to take care of my kids. Even though the parent is still illegal, I get to stay in the country to take care of my U.S. citizen baby. You have this whole, they call it chain illegal immigration, chain illegal invasion. Listen, we got to shut this down. This birthright citizenship loophole coming out of the 14th Amendment, which was designed for recently freed slaves after the Civil War. You guys know that, any American historians here. This was not designed for the way that it's being abused right now. This was for slaves that were getting citizenship after the Civil War had concluded. Anyway, guys, this is it's like rewarding illegal aliens. Okay, it's like, if you sneak in our country and start popping out babies, you get a free prize. You get a prize. We're going to reward you for it. Insofar as your child is now a U.S. citizen, the same as anybody else in this country. Ridiculous. Gotta go. It's gotta go. It's gotta go. Lawyers for the Trump administration stressed last week that the Supreme Court's ruling did not preclude it from taking other actions before that date in October, and told U.S. it plans to immediately begin developing and issuing public guidance on the order. Advocates have warned possible fallout from the order could prove catastrophic. Listen, you can call the fallouts for this executive order banning birthright citizenship, call it catastrophic, call it terrible, call it irreparable, whatever. That's what we want. We want this shut down. This has got to be shut down. 100%. It's got to go. Now, let's refer back to what Justice Alito said about this entire situation a couple weeks ago in late June when they issued this 6-3 decision, effectively staying President Trump's executive order for the time being. Holy crap, Justice Sam Alito's grave warning gave all of us warning to all of us has been proven right again. A district judge, this is what we're talking about today, just blocked President Trump's executive order against birthright citizenship for illegals, and in order to do so, they certified a nationwide class relief. This misuse of the nationwide class relief is the exact loophole that Supreme Court Justice Alito warned of recently in the recent Supreme Court victory that we had 2 weeks ago. As Justice Alito said, district courts should not view today's decision as an invitation to certify nationwide classes without scrupulous adherence to the rigors of Rule 23. Otherwise, the universal injunction will return from the grave under the guise of nationwide class relief, and today's decision will be of little more than minor academic interest. So, guys, what has just gone on today is exactly what Alito predicted and warned of and said, hey, explicitly, do not do this. Hey, listen, lower federal courts, the federal courts across the country, do not do this. Guess what they did? They did it. He said, this is it, and this is him. The universal injunction will return from the grave under the guise of nationwide class relief. And there you have it. So now, listen, really, it's hard to predict where this goes. Is this lower federal court ruling that we're talking about today going to have to go back up to the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court has limited time, they can't take a look at every case. Really, guys, this situation is not done. We just got to wait till October. We're not going to know exactly which way this is going until October, but right now, I suppose as a consequence of this ruling right now, birthright citizenship is again the law of the land. I suppose the Trump administration could try to appeal this in a federal appellate court. That's probably the next step here. They put this up to an appellate court. Doesn't have to go to the Supreme Court. I would suppose a federal appellate court, which you have a panel of judges, they all weigh on this together. They will probably strike this down and say, listen, this is in direct defiance of what the Supreme Court ruled a couple weeks ago. Now, we have a super chat here. I want to take a look at this from Michael P. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you. States cannot legislate who receive U.S. citizenship, and district judges better be careful they're not held in contempt of SCOTUS. Might be the case. Might be the case. The DOJ could conceivably move for sanctions against any U.S. district judge who defies SCOTUS authority. Listen, I'm with you. I'm about all of that. October cannot come fast enough. October. Let's just put this thing to rest. Let's just find out definitively what is going on here. What is the case? Birthright citizenship has got to go. I'd rather just have an answer, yes or no, than be in this weird back and forth purgatory. Federal judge says this, Supreme Court says this, the appellate court says this, another radically progressive federal judge chimes in and he starts it all over again. Listen, let's just close the door on this. Let's get an answer. October cannot come fast enough, but that is the big birthright citizenship news of the day. Now, folks, I want to move on and show you something else here. Like I said, attacks on federal ICE agents over the last 12 months, if you compare how things are now to how things were 12 months ago, a year ago from now, attacks on ICE agents have skyrocketed by how much? 700% times 7. Is that 7 fingers? Times 7. Kristi Noem chimes in. She warns of unprecedented threat level for ICE agents, and she blames the lies from the Democrats. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is sounding the alarm over what she describes as an intense rise in violence targeting immigration officers. She explained the threats against ICE agents were getting, quote, getting worse, and blamed the inflammatory rhetoric from the left. Yes or no? Is the progressive left engaging in inflammatory rhetoric? Absolutely yes. Folks, there is a word. Feel free to Google this or pull this up on Wikipedia if you have time later today. The word is called stochastic terrorism. It's a very specific type of verbal rhetorical terrorism. And the left has perfected this. And they know exactly what they are doing. The progressive left, they will say things like, Americans, we need to stop these ICE agents at whatever cost. Americans, we have to do whatever it takes to stop these ICE agents. Okay, what are they're wink nudging if they say we have to stop them at all costs. Wink nudge. What does that mean? They are intentionally, kind of secretly, kind of slyly, okay, inciting violence, because they know if they broadcast that message out, if they say that, at least 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 100 of their crazy supporters nationwide, your Antifa members, your far left extremist radical progressives, whatever, you know the type of people we're talking about, they're going to say, oh man, Hakeem Jeffries said that I need to stop ICE agents by whatever means necessary. Okay, I get what he's laying down. All right, I understand. And then you have violence. And then you have this type of crazy violence. Okay? Terrible. And they know exactly what they are doing. They are doing it intentionally, and it's working. The violence is through the roof. It's through the roof. We had a super chat here. Let me take a look. It was better to remain silent about the Epstein nonsense. Time to move on to important matters. No, we're going to talk about that later today. I disagree, and that's why I'm going to keep talking about it. Thank you for that super chat, though. We're going to talk about that here pretty soon. But first, we're talking about this ICE agent situation. She explained the threats against ICE agents were, quote, getting worse, and blamed inflammatory rhetoric from the left. Some of these Democrat leaders in some of these communities and states are really elevating the emotion out there and frankly lying and putting these officers' lives in jeopardy, Kristi Noem said on Thursday. That's earlier today. They are just upholding the rule of law. It really is unprecedented, this environment that we're in. Once again, okay, I'm seeing people on the progressive left. You see them on the internet. You go on Reddit or something. I open up Facebook, I see these people everywhere. Go see it on Twitter too. You have members of the progressive left, they're saying these ICE agents, they're just like Nazi soldiers. They're like members of the SS. This is Donald Trump's private SS Schutzstaffel death squad. And they're deporting them to concentration camps like Alligator Alcatraz. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Really? Listen, what these ICE agents are doing is, I know it's going to sound insane. All they are doing is enforcing our already existing federal immigration legislation. Okay? We're stopping people at the border, and the people that are already inside the country, we are ripping them out. We're deporting them. They are here illegally. They have illegally invaded the country. They're a drain on the system. Americans have overwhelmingly decided these people have to go. We don't want them here. In fact, this is a bipartisan consensus. This is not just Republicans that want to get rid of the illegal aliens. Democrats want to get rid of them too. You've got 60%, 65% of Americans that want every single, not some of them, not a couple of them, not just a few of them, every single one of them have got to go. This is a bipartisan consensus. 65% of Americans, get them out. Okay? I'm actually not even sure why at this point the Democrats are deciding to die on this hill. It is so transparently obvious. The vast majority, the overwhelming majority of Americans, 2/3 of Americans just about, listen, they want these people gone. Get them out of here. Her remarks, Kristi Noem's remarks, comes after an attack on officers in Alvarado, Texas last Independence Day, a couple days ago. A group of heavily armed individuals used fireworks and graffiti to lure ICE agents into a parking lot near a migrant facility. Phrases like traitor and ICE pig were spray painted onto their personal vehicles. While officers responded, they were fired on from nearby, striking one local police officer in the neck who is expected to survive. Thank God. Guys, this was an ambush. If you guys didn't hear about this news, 6 days ago on the 4th of July, I've seen 10 of these people have been convicted. Do we have a photo of them here? I don't think we do. 10 of these far left radical progressives, to me, they looked like Antifa members. Anyway, actually, just because I think it's important you guys see what these people look like. I didn't have this prepared, but I think I can probably find this pretty fast. If I can find these people, maybe not. I don't want to slow down the show here. But anyway, no, it was 10 down in Texas. 10 of these far left radical progressives. It was effectively a trap or an ambush. They started setting off fireworks and blowing stuff up. The police responded. These Antifa thugs, these far left thugs, they had sharpshooters positioned in the woods. I think they were in the woods, maybe up on the rooftops. They opened fire on the ICE agents when they showed up, when they responded to the scene. Okay, it was an ambush. And now, luckily, I don't think anybody died. One officer got shot in the neck, like we just read. He's expected to survive. But this was 10 of, it was 10. It was a group of 10 people. These far left violent radicals. This was a premeditated, organized thing. They had body armor, they had masks, they had helmets. They looked like a whole, I don't know, like paramilitary organization. They were all wearing black. They had walkie-talkies. They were communicating. They showed up. The ICE agents are on the scene. Open fire. This was a whole operation. Okay, this was very premeditated. Crazy. And so luckily nobody is dead, and all of these people have been caught. Kristi Noem said the attacks like this are part of a very troubling pattern. The Department of Homeland Security told Fox News they've seen assaults on ICE officers rise by nearly 700% since the same time last year, something Kristi Noem has called unprecedented. Is that true? Absolutely true. These targeted attacks against these law enforcement officers is a disrespect and a dangerous situation that we are in, said Kristi Noem. Tensions regarding immigration enforcement have escalated. I mean, times 7 by a factor of 7. With anti-ICE riots breaking out in Los Angeles last month. Guys, this is a story that's not been getting a lot of news coverage over the last month. We all know about the No Kings protest, the No Kings riots. We all know about what happened in Los Angeles and other places also, primarily Los Angeles. Every single night in Portland, also Seattle a little bit, but really Portland has continued to be the epicenter for all this. Portland, Oregon, that's my hometown, by the way. I'm from Portland, Oregon. Thank God I didn't end up joining Antifa. But anyway, Portland has continued. This has continued. Almost every single night for a month, you have these far left radicals wearing all black with fireworks, sometimes bringing weapons, masks, whatever, showing up, and they're attacking the ICE officers right outside the ICE field office in downtown Portland. And I'm going to show you a video of that here pretty soon. Tensions regarding immigration enforcement are still high. It's escalated. Many city and state leaders have pushed back against the Trump administration's deportation agenda. We call these sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities and sanctuary states are pushing back. They are refusing to cooperate with immigration authorities. Sanctuary city. What a just comically ironic word. A sanctuary city is only a sanctuary for violent illegal alien criminals. For everybody else, for all of the hardworking, American tax-paying, honest people, honest American citizens that are just trying to, live their life and be good members of society, these sanctuary cities are not a sanctuary. In fact, they are a living hellhole. They are a hellscape is what they have ended up becoming. Critics argue the raids are politically motivated to destabilize communities. Well, listen, these ICE raids undeniably are politically motivated. It is politics. We've got to get these people out of the country. Of course it's politically motivated. Over half the country voted for President Trump to do this. 65% of the country, 2/3 of the nation, endorses these very ICE raids. Yeah, it's political. Who cares? These are politically motivated. We got to get rid of these people. We got to get them out. Christy Nome said, I think about it every day. Every word that comes out of my mouth, I think, how can I protect these officers so they can do their jobs? It's a heavy weight that sits on you every single day. She also addressed a website that works to expose the identities of ICE agents. You guys know this is happening? This is why you ever wonder, man, why are all of these ICE agents wearing masks these days? They're all putting masks on. Well, it's because there are far left radically progressive websites where these people on the far left, they are actually trying to dox, trying to publicly release the private personal information, address, name, anything they can get a hold of, family members. Okay, this is where, hey, you're an ICE agent. Okay, we're gonna let everybody know where your grandma lives. Everything. They're trying to destroy the lives of these ICE agents, every single thing they can. There's websites dedicated to this. It's insane. Hold up one second here. There we go. Okay. They're talking about kidnapping their families, said Christy Nome. They're going after their colleagues, she said. It's extremely dangerous and the rhetoric has got to stop. Nome defended ICE's broader mission and said attacks against officers won't deter their work. She pointed to the agency's role in tracking down thousands of missing migrant children who entered through the Biden-era sponsorship program. Many, she said, were exploited by hundreds of thousands, by the way, have gone missing. Last I read, over 300,000 children during the Biden era have gone missing across that southern border. Absolutely insane. She said these ICE officers are patriots. They're going out there every single day and making our streets safer. And that's true. Now, guys, we have a video here from Madison Sheehan, she is this woman here on the left. She is an ICE deputy director. I want to play this. Let's hear it from her, just how bad the situation has gotten.
So there are some Democrats now who want to make moves to identify ICE officers who were involved in these deportation proceedings. It's a so-called visible act. Here are the co-sponsors: Cory Booker, Alex Padilla among them, Richard Blue.
This is actually nuts. I didn't know it was this bad. We have 12 congressional Democrats. Adam Schiff, no surprise. Cory Booker, no surprise. A lot of these people, they are doing everything they can to effectively dox these ICE agents, to publicly release the personal private information of ICE agents. Think about how evil this is. If you are on this list right now, this is evil.
Blumenthal, Tammy Duckworth. What this act would do would require a clear display of agency name or acronym when somebody is effecting an arrest, clear display of officer name or badge number, no face coverings that obscure officer's identity, with exceptions for safety or specific operations. Your response to all of this? I mean, these officers go out on the streets. They're fully identified. They identify themselves. They're wearing body armor that has the name of the agency on it, but for safety reasons, not wanting to be doxxed, a lot of them are wearing face coverings.
You're seeing them wear face coverings because the Democrats continue to take the sides of the criminals and put our ICE officers in danger. You saw this over the last couple of weeks. Arrest numbers continue to increase from ICE's standpoint. And with that, what we're seeing is a huge increase of violence against ICE officers, up over 700%. These ICE officers are serving the American people, putting the American people first. And the Democrats want to go after their families and their kids and dox them and make sure that they're unsafe. And in reality, they are just enforcing the immigration laws that are on the books in the United States. They are keeping the American people safe.
So here is
worth noting, they are enforcing the laws that are already on the books. Guys, in the last 7 months or 6 months that President Trump has been back in the White House, have we passed any new federal immigration legislation? Is anything new happened? Outside of the big, beautiful bill, we have a little bit of a bigger budget. That's a budgetary thing. Do we have new federal immigration law, new legislation? No, we don't. All President Trump is doing is enforcing the laws that we've already had now for decades. And by the way, these are the very laws that Joe Biden and the Democrats, they just decided not to enforce them. We've always had well, not always, but we've had these laws for a very long time. This federal legislation, we've agreed on this a long time ago. Biden said, well, to be fair, it probably wasn't Biden. It was other people in the Biden administration. I think Biden was not personally making a lot of decisions, to be frank. But anyway, let's say the Democrats. The Democrats decided, this already existing federal immigration law, we're just not going to enforce it. Yeah, who cares?
Senator Alex Padilla's rationale for wanting to pass this so-called Visible Act. Listen here.
I mean, if you're out in the streets in Los Angeles, whether you're a citizen, a legal resident, or an undocumented immigrant, and somebody without these identifiers is approaching you, masked up, coming out of a marked car, you have no idea what's going on. It's dangerous for a community and dangerous for the agents themselves because you never know how a person on the street is going to react when they think they're getting kidnapped.
It's dangerous for the community. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. You let me know if you agree. I would rather have every single person living in my neighborhood be an ICE agent than an illegal alien. If you had to choose ICE agent neighbors or illegal alien neighbors, which is a safer community? I'm picking the ICE agent neighbors every single time. We have a super chat here. Let me take a look at this. This is from Never Give Up. He says, born too late to explore the earth, born too early to explore space, but born just the right time to be based. There you have it. Thank you very much.
But again, any of these operations that we've ever seen, the officers are fully marked. They may have their faces covered so that they don't get doxxed, or maybe they're involved in undercover operations. But there's full disclosure as to who they are and what they're doing.
Absolutely. All of our ICE officers wear the ICE branding. They wear the HSI or the ERO branding. Yep. It's very known who they are and what they're doing. And they will continue to put the American people first and keep the American people safe, whether senators like Alex Padilla wanting to go out and dox them and have their families known with this rhetoric that we're seeing all over the country. But ICE officers will continue to do their job. They'll continue to wear the markings that they wear every day. And we want to make sure that those officers are safe out on the street.
And I'll tell you something else. Listen, if you're a Democrat, if you're a far left radical progressive here, listen, here's a warning. So far, President Trump, this is shocking news to people. I think a lot of people don't know this. I've said it before, though. We only have around 4,500 ICE officers in the nation right now, in the entire country. 4,500. It's less than 5,000. That's all President Trump has had to work with for the last 6 months. We haven't even had that many. Okay, very limited resources. Big Beautiful Bill got passed. Big Beautiful Bill accommodates for the hiring of another 10,000. Okay, the number of ICE officer boots on the ground is about to increase by over 300%, by threefold. Okay, we're about to have a lot more ICE agents running around this country. In fact, I don't know about you guys. I've been taking a look at Twitter. I'm getting ads, Twitter ads, trying to get me to get a job at ICE or the DHS. So I know they're hiring people right now, because if I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed, I'm getting targeted ads. It says, oh, hey, you're a young man. Hey there, because I'm 31. So these ads, the way they work, they're targeted. They know your gender and they know your age. So it says, oh, here we've got a 31-year-old man on Twitter. Let's see if he wants to join ICE. And so, hey, they are hiring. That's the way this works. They're trying to get people to fill these boots now. Okay, Peggy, let me take a look here. Okay, I'm against illegal aliens. I'm German and had to do all sorts of things to get my green card. My husband served 24 years in the service, but not all illegals are bad and not all ICE agents are good. All of them are bad and all of them have to go. I disagree. All of them have got to go. And by the way, that is what the American people voted for. Right now, 65% of Americans nationwide want all of them gone. No holds barred, no ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, I'm not morally condemning I'm not saying all of them need to be, executed or anything. They're all irredeemably bad. They're in the wrong country. They have invaded this country illegally. They have to go. Listen, here's a very basic question. Do you believe in democracy? Do you believe that the American people, American citizens, ought to have a say over who enters their country? I do. I believe in respecting the democratic will of the people. Well, guess what? The democratic will of the people has been expressed. We voted for President Trump. We have federal immigration legislation saying that these illegal aliens are not allowed to do this. Right now, every single poll, every single major poll, even left-leaning polls says almost 2/3 of the country wants not a couple of them, all of them. All of them. Listen, are we a sovereign nation or not? Do we have national sovereignty or not? The American people, we need to be respected. Our opinion needs to be heeded. Our opinion needs to be listened to. Okay? They have to go. The American people have overwhelmingly, unanimously decided they have to go. They came here illegally. They have disrespected America. They've disrespected the American people. They have to go. The American people rose up. This was a mandate. The recent 2024 election was a mandate on this. They got to go. Now, once again, are they all irredeemably evil people and they're all going to burn in hell? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying we're a country. We have laws. Okay, we have a process. You need to respect the country, and you also need to respect the people in the country. You got to do it. Listen, the days where just foreigners from around the world can just piss all over our country are done. We're not dealing with that anymore. You said you did it the right. You said you're from Germany. It's funny. My wife is from Germany too. My wife is an immigrant. She's been here for 5 years. My wife is a German immigrant. We did it the legal way. We did it legally. Okay, we spent a lot of money and it took a lot of time. It was a pain in the ass, but we're not about to disrespect the country. The American people have decided we are a country with laws. We're a sovereign nation. We're not going to have people walk all over the country anymore and also take advantage of the country. Frankly, it's over. Now, I appreciate that super chat though. Now, Stephen Miller weighs in on all of this. I have 2 Stephen Miller clips here regarding this ICE situation, the big, beautiful bill budget. I want to take a look at this regarding the immigration situation. Stephen Miller, take it away.
The greatest gift that could be given by America to ICE officers is what is in President Trump's big, beautiful bill. So this is the largest investment in domestic law enforcement in American history. Why? Because our country, not only over the last 4 years, although especially over the last 4 years, but because of decades of prior bad leadership, has been infiltrated by the most dangerous criminal organizations on planet Earth. Organizations like the Sinaloa Cartel, organizations like Trains Aragua, organizations that, like the Sureños in Los Angeles, that use barbaric violence to impose their will, that sell poisonous drugs into our communities. This legislation will not only hire 10,000 additional ICE officers, but it will fund ICE charter flights to get all of these criminal aliens out of our country. It will more than double the number of ICE beds to detain violent and dangerous criminal aliens. It will hire more ICE attorneys to do the work to get the legal orders to get these aliens out of our country. It will hire more prosecutors in the Department of Justice to put violent criminal alien predators behind bars.
I mean, listen, we can harken back to this point about illegal aliens. This argument was, listen, not all of them are MS-13 gang members or human traffickers. Okay, you're right. You're right. What is the level of risk that you're willing to accept? Let me construct an analogy here. Okay, if I have a bowl of M&Ms, a big bowl full of M&Ms, everybody loves M&Ms, and I tell you, hey, listen, take a handful and have some M&Ms, but 1 out of every 100 M&Ms is poison, and if you eat it, you're going to die. Would you take a handful? You love it. Everybody loves M&Ms. Would you take a handful of M&Ms and eat those M&Ms? If I told you 1 out of every 100 is poisonous, if you eat it, you will die. You're going to be hospitalized. It's going to be bad. Would you take a handful of M&Ms? No. And so this is the problem, okay, with the illegal alien crisis. We don't know which ones are the gang members. We don't know which ones are the human traffickers, are the fentanyl dealers, are the child smugglers. We have enough problems in our own country. We have enough domestic American citizen criminals. We have enough problems domestically already as it is. We all know that's the case. We don't need to be importing more problems. We don't. We listen, guys, as a nation, we cannot afford to be taking these big risks like this and gambling on this. They all have to go. Shut down the border permanently. They all have to go. We are in crisis mode. This nation is in crisis mode. We have 50 million illegal aliens in the country from God knows where, doing God knows what. Okay, the country is falling apart. We have got to get rid of all of them. Maybe we can have a talk about broadening immigration later on after we get a grip on the situation. Do we have a grip on the situation right now? No. Slowly, we're getting a better grip. Okay, we are now that Trump's back in the White House. But listen, guys, this situation is off the chain. We got to get this under control. And right now, it is not. Stephen Miller, ICE agents.
The rhetoric from Hakeem Jeffries, the rhetoric from Democrat leadership, the record from that awful guest that you just played on CNN. This is eliminationist rhetoric. This is rhetoric that is used to justify violence, that is used to justify terrorism, that has directly led to, has directly inspired enormous assaults, a 700% increase in assaults on ICE officers, and of course, recent attempts at murder against ICE officers, including in Texas, where you had a shootout at, in this case, a Border Patrol facility that, again, is inspired by this hateful, odious, villainous rhetoric. And let's be very clear.
Guys, this is a terrible thing. We are starting to see more of this. This is a big problem. We're going to, I hate to say this, I hope I'm wrong. Sincerely, I hope I am, but I don't think I am. We are starting to see people weaponize 911 calls. Okay, we saw this in Florida about 3 weeks ago during the No Kings Day. We saw this in North Idaho outside Coeur d'Alene with that firefighter attack. And now we saw this 6 days ago on 4th of July, where we are having far left radicals, dangerous, anti-American far left radicals. They are making 911 emergency phone calls. Hey, officer, there's something bad over here at this address. Come and check it out, please. I need your help. First responders, firefighters, officers show up on the scene, and it's an ambush. It's a bait. It's a trap. And these first responders walk in, and now you've got shooters in the woods or shooters up on the hilltop taking shots at first responders. This has happened 3 times in different places across the country: Florida, Texas, North Idaho. 3 times, maybe more than that, the 3 times I'm aware of, in just the last 3 weeks. Okay, this is a problem. This is a big time issue.
ICE officers are saving, with their actions, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of American lives. Border Patrol and ICE are getting fentanyl and drugs out of our communities. They just did an operation recently in Minneapolis that swept up a dozen child sex offenders, child predators, and pedophiles. They are removing foreign terrorist organizations from our country, like Tren de Aragua, MS-13, 6 Mexican drug cartels. They are fighting, they are battling every single day on the street the most violent, evil, ruthless criminal organizations on the face of planet Earth. Organizations whose stock and trade is rape and murder. ICE officers are not only heroes, but they are among the bravest Americans among us. Every day they go out onto the street knowing they face the threat of murder, knowing they face the threat of doxing, knowing the hateful smears against them and their family, the risk to their lives and their liberty, and yet they continue to press forward to do what? To save this country. Every American should be endlessly grateful to the men and women of ICE for what they are doing, of what President Trump is doing to liberate America.
I want to go through these super chats here. As usual, Stephen Miller here is 100% right. Lobedo says the way ICE agents are getting treated is because of the lies of the media and the Democrats is the way we should treat the media. And listen, I'll tell you this. If ICE agents weren't being attacked and assaulted and vindicated and made out to be Hitlerian Nazi villains or whatever the rhetoric of the left is, that's pretty much what it is. They're fascists. They're Nazis. Oh, my God. You know, if that wasn't the case, then they wouldn't need to wear masks. Does that make sense? If they weren't getting doxxed and harassed and, you know, having their personal and private information posted all over the internet to try to destroy and ruin their lives, and also not just their lives, but the lives of their loved ones, their friends, and their family, you know, then they wouldn't need to conceal their identity. But unfortunately, we don't live in that reality. We live in a reality where this country is infested with illegal aliens that hate us. They're looking to take over. And also we have just, God knows how many of these violent, unhinged, insane, mentally ill, far left, radically progressives that are trying to tear the country apart. So you're right about that. Thank you. And also Raya says, preach, Matt, best stream on YouTube. Thank you very much, Raya. You're one of the big supporters. I appreciate that a lot. Guys, I think we are, a little side note here, I think we're doing these live broadcasts here, these daily news broadcasts, Monday to Friday. I'm not sure about weekends yet. Monday to Friday, you can bet your butt I'm going to be here at some point during midday breaking it all down. So I appreciate the support so far. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. I appreciate that a lot. And also living life loving. I appreciate that. Thank you. I need to close this here. Something else I want to show you. I told you that ICE, DHS, Tom Homan, Borders Art, Tom Homan, they are getting ready to go scorched earth. They have had enough of the way things have been violently escalating. Take a look at this.
Not only that, I'm going to head to Portland. I'm going out there. They're not going to bully us or you know, we're going to do the job. We're going to do it in Portland too. But for the mayor of New York City and Chicago, President Trump made it clear 2 weeks ago. We're going to double down and triple down the sanctuary cities. Why?
Double down, triple down. He is going to Portland. He is going to the epicenter. Is it fair to call Portland, Oregon, the epicenter of all of this far left, radical, progressive Antifa ideology? I think so. Have you guys looked around? Portland is bad. I'm going to show you a video here in a minute of just how bad it is. He's personally going to Portland. That's going to be nuts.
Not because they're blue, because we know they're releasing public safety threats to the streets every day. Like Florida, we agree with all the sheriffs in Florida. They're taking our detainers down. They're not releasing illegal alien public safety threats. They're calling us. So we can spend less resources in Florida and send them to New York, to Chicago, and to Portland, and LA. We're going to double down and triple down the sanctuary cities. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail, then we'll go to the community and we'll find him. Or we'll do more worksite enforcement. We'll find him at the worksite.
We will find him.
And when we do these things...
Dude, this is one of these just hilarious narratives coming out of the left right now. You see this on CNN. You see this from these Democrat politicians. They're saying, yeah, listen, the American people, they voted for President Trump to deport the worst of the worst villains and criminals. Okay, we get that. Okay. But nobody voted for President Trump to raid Home Depot and pick people up off of work sites and right outside the Home Depot lumber department. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Hello, Trump voter here. I voted for Trump 3 times. That's actually exactly why I voted for Trump. I want Trump kicking in doors. I want these ICE agents raiding Home Depot. I want him to rip him out of the Mexican restaurant downtown. I do not care if they are here illegally. I don't care where they are, what time of day it is. If they are here illegally, I do not care. They have to go. Okay? Listen, we need to stop aiding and abetting these people. Get them out. No holds barred. It is over. The jig is up. We're taking back the country. The era of our country of turning a blind eye to this invasion is over. It's over. Listen, we got to crack a few eggs to make the omelet. If we want to make America great again, things are going to have to get that way. That's the way it is. They have to go. They got to get out.
So we ramp up that enforcement. We're going to find others who aren't a criminal target, but they're in the country illegally. We're going to arrest them too. So what you're going to get, sanctuary cities, is exactly what you don't want. More agents in your communities and more collateral arrests.
Yep.
That's what we're going to do.
That's the way you do it.
Tripling down. So for those who say they want to keep ICE out of the city, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You double down and you triple down. If they try to resist, we're doubling down and we're tripling down. Super chat here. Anonymous Nobody says, dog treats, $10 super chat. Later on, how about this? At the end of today's broadcast, I'll bring the puppy out. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. The puppy life is good so far. Klaus Rothchenko. Living in Texas, my mother, naturalized U.S. citizen from Germany, retired U.S. Army infantry officer, also former police officer, have several ICE friends. Finest kind, stay frosty, ICE. Good luck, ICE. ICE, the spirit of ICE. Good luck. Good luck. If you can hear me, the spirit of ICE. Good luck. Get them out of the country. Thank you. I'm with you. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. That's a big super chat. And also, thank you. Personally, thank you. I appreciate that. There was another one here before we move on. after that big one. Foreign countries, they are in the process of destroying our country with toxic drugs, genetically modified THC, and paid sales in the country. Listen, our country has been falling apart. Okay, the country for the last 7 decades has gotten worse. Decade after decade, it's gotten worse. And I'll tell you what, this is not the only reason, but there is, I'm telling you, there is a 1-to-1 correlation. The more illegal aliens we have in the country, the worse the country is, period. You can't even argue that. The more of them there are in the country, the worse the country is. Our country has kind of slipped away a little bit for a multitude of reasons, but that sure is one of the big ones. Undeniably so. Undeniably so. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Folks, we're talking about Portland. Tom Homan himself is on the way to Portland soon. I want to show you what has been going on in downtown Portland every single day for the last 3 or 4 weeks. It has not let up. This is still going on just about every single night. We have effectively an Antifa insurgency operation. They're just not relenting. Take a look at this.
Federal police disperse from the driveway immediately.
This is right outside the Portland ICE facility. Every day they're having standoffs like this. You got the wheelchair guy there. Every single day, just about every single night. This is right outside the gates of the ICE facility in downtown Portland. This is happening every day. They are not letting up. In fact, now, like, this is what I have heard, is that all of these sort of Antifa, far left, radical, progressive type of people, they know Portland is the place to be. It's going down in Portland. You're having these far left radicals from all over the country migrate into Portland over the last couple of weeks just to help out with what's going on now. Okay. You're having Antifa members from all across the nation fly over or bus over to Portland just so they can help out fight the evil ICE agents. So it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Just nuts. Nuts. Why aren't they arrested? In downtown, listen, you need to understand, in Portland, Oregon. Oregon has a radically progressive governor called Tina Kotek. She actually, in the year 2019, she was marching alongside Antifa in 2019. I kid you not. This is before she was governor. Portland and Oregon as a state just completely controlled and occupied by radically progressives. If these people get arrested here on the street outside the ICE facility, at most you have a catch and release type of situation that they maybe spend a couple hours in a prison cell, then they're back out in the street. They do it again tomorrow. Okay, so the local government does not give one credit. In fact, the local government hates ICE agents as well. So nothing's happening. These ICE agents here, they have absolutely no support from the Portland city government or the Oregon state government. They got nothing. They're on their own. And so that's why Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, they're saying, listen, we got to go back them up. We want more. We're doubling down. We're tripling down, boots in the ground. Okay. And that's where this is going. Now, a little bit of a funny video. This happened downtown in Portland, Oregon about a week ago. I want to show you something here. A Portland downtown resident confronted Antifa for blaring music past midnight right outside the ICE facility. This is the same location, right outside the facility here. Take a look at this. You're going to think this is funny.
Turn that shit down! It's midnight! I will turn it down. I would love to. You just have to ask me, and I'm being nice even though you're screaming at me. Fuck you! I'm coming back every night! I'm destroying and wrecking your shit! Turn it down! We the people need sleep!
So, and look, here you have a masked Antifa thug in the left. And so, listen, Portland is what, like 99% Democrat. I can't imagine there are many conservatives living in downtown. So this woman probably here, you can bet this is a progressive. She's a progressive, but even she's had enough. She's like, Antifa, go home. I need to go to bed. It's midnight on Monday. Whoa! She's pissed. Unbelievable. I can't imagine that these young white Antifa members have the audacity to speak back to a powerful, strong black woman like this. Wow. I think they might be racist. I think these Antifa members down here, these white Antifa members, this might be some type of racism going on. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Hey guys, let's let another neighbor talk. Let's let another neighbor talk.
And there it is. There, this is the ICE facility, man. Every single night for weeks, this has been going on. You have furries lining up. They're wearing their furry outfits or whatever. What is going on? What is going on? ICE out of Portland. And so there you have it. And so there you have it. Now, folks, I want to move on to another story here. The radical progressives, this time Adam Schiff, they are still... I thought that maybe they would shut up about this after the big, beautiful bill passed, but no, they're still up here every day. Why? This is yesterday afternoon, complaining about these bogus Medicaid lies. We all know, listen, this big, beautiful bill is not cutting Medicaid for anybody that actually deserves or ought to be on Medicaid. This is cutting Medicaid for people that are in the country illegally. I want to say there are 1.4 million illegal aliens across the country collecting Medicaid or getting Medicaid benefits. And also another, if I remember right, 4.8, almost 5 million American citizens that are able-bodied, they can work, they just have decided not to work coming out of the COVID pandemic. You remember during COVID, a lot of people kind of dropped out of the workforce. You have a lot of young Americans, probably Americans actually around my age, that have said, well, listen, I just kind of don't want to do it. And so anyway, so they just have not. And so around 5 million Americans are going to get kicked off Medicaid, but they shouldn't be on Medicaid in the first place. Let's break down the Medicaid thing. Adam Schiff, what is he saying yesterday?
When the Senate passed Trump's big, ugly bill last week, 50 of our colleagues put their stamp on a budget that will devastate Medicaid. That will mean hospitals and clinics close. That millions of Americans will lose access to life-saving care. That will mean people get their care denied. That will mean the long, hard fight against opioids will be set back.
Real quick, guys, in order to qualify for Medicaid under the big, beautiful bill, you only have to work 20 hours a week. So pretty much all these Americans that have said, I just don't want to work, I want to collect benefits instead, all they have to do is work 20 hours a week. These are able-bodied Americans.
By cuts to substance abuse treatment. After promising that Medicaid would not be touched, that our health care would not be harmed, they cut it by $1 trillion. Trillion with a T, to fund tax cuts for wealthy people by the trillions.
Have you guys ever asked any of these Democrats, okay, specifically what tax cut for the rich? Because this is one of their big talking points. Big, beautiful bill, tax cuts for the rich. Specifically, which one? Specifically, let's be very clear here. Which tax cut? None of them know. None of them know. They have no idea. This is just a talking point. Tax cuts for the rich. Specifically, I don't know. No idea.
And when your hospital closes because it loses millions of Medicaid dollars, it won't matter whether you were personally on Medicaid. Your hospital will be gone. You and everyone else will have to drive farther to find an emergency room, to have a baby, to get dialysis, or to be treated for a stroke. The quality of your care will decline. Your access to care will diminish, especially reproductive care, but every kind.
So the reason why they are talking about these Medicaid cuts still, after the big, beautiful bill has passed a week and a half ago, I'll tell you what, or a week ago, it is because this is what they are campaigning on for midterms. How are the Democrats planning on winning midterms in about a year and a half from now? What they are going to talk about is Medicaid, 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 Medicaid. They're going to keep on pushing this Medicaid lie. Luckily, we've got guys like Scott Jennings that are able to debunk this. This happened on CNN last night. Scott Jennings absolutely schooled a lot of these Democrats up here on the CNN debate panel, take a look at this specifically as it relates to the Medicaid lie.
I think his political analysis is wrong. I don't think it's unpopular at all to try to reform an entitlement program, to save it for the people who need it, to keep illegal aliens from getting welfare benefits they shouldn't be getting, to encourage people to go to work. I don't think these things should be shied away from by Republicans.
None of that is true. First of all, I think Medicaid
It's exactly true. It's exactly what's in the bill.
Federal law prohibits undocumented immigrants
Then why are
from receiving Medicaid
1.4
benefits.
million on it? Why are
That's a
1.4
figment of your
million?
imagination.
It's a figment of the CBO's documents.
Let me explain the facts.
It's in the CBO documents.
I'll explain the facts.
Is it or not?
Let me explain. It's not, actually.
No, you are lying.
No, that is not. It is not true.
Okay, hang on.
So this guy is just totally divorced from reality. He's up here arguing, well, actually, no, listen, hey, there are no illegal aliens collecting Medicaid. We know the CBO, actually Doge found this also. Doge, a couple months ago, they said, listen, what is going on? How are there so many illegal aliens on Medicaid? Guys, the Joe Biden administration, they were passing out social security numbers, which are supposed to be reserved for Americans. They were passing out legitimate American U.S. citizen social security numbers to illegal aliens. Now, you know, if you're a legal resident, like if you have a green card, you have a different kind of number similar to a social security number, but not exactly the same as a social security. It's called an ITIN, if I remember right. My wife has one. Anyway, the Biden admin was just passing out legitimate, authentic, real social security numbers to illegal aliens. If they wanted one, they could get one. I want to say they gave about 5 million of these things to illegal aliens. So you say, how possibly could an illegal alien be on Medicaid or Social Security also? Well, that's one of the ways. That's how.
Hold on a second.
Inventing facts out of thin air.
All right.
So Medicaid is...
Hold on, guys.
Medicaid.
Ooh. Are we doing fact
It's political
checking?
suicide for Republicans
I think
to
it's
get
political
Medicaid.
suicide to come on as a member of Congress and lie about what the CBO
Okay, so
the majority of
1.4 million illegals are on it.
people who benefit from Medicaid are senior citizens and those with disabilities. Almost
Yeah,
all
I would disagree
Medicaid
with
funding goes toward the elderly, the disabled, children, and working
Yep.
adults.
That's who it's for.
Yep.
And that's
It's not for
and those
illegals.
are the people for
It's
whom
not
it
for
principally
illegals.
benefits.
Scott,
Actually,
just
more cost effective to provide preventative care than to have them overcrowd an emergency room.
That's a great
look at the
position
state-
for your
look at-
party
look at the state
to
of
give
California
free health
for
care to every illegal immigrant. That's a great position for your party.
By the way, that is effectively the position of the Democrat Party. That is the position. Free healthcare for illegal aliens. Not just open border policy, every single person in the entire world is welcome here in America, but also, once they arrive illegally, after we open up the border, we're going to give them free healthcare also, and food assistance and housing assistance. Guys, you want to know what is coming your way if we don't stop the Democrats dead in their tracks with this whole illegal alien invasion thing? Look at a state like Oregon. Oregon, you're not going to believe me, but this is a fact. You can Google this. Oregon has a first-time homebuyer down payment program where you can get $20,000, maybe $25,000. I think $20,000 at a 0% interest rate, first-time mortgage down payment home loan assistance, specifically for illegal aliens. American citizens don't qualify for the program. This is a first-time home buyer program to help with a down payment, specifically and exclusively for illegal aliens. That is what is coming to your state if we don't solve the problem. That's how it's like in Oregon already.
It's a lie. I don't understand.
Well, you're saying it's better to do it that way.
Almost all of the program benefits senior citizens and the disabled.
You
and
just
children.
said it was better to give illegals health care.
We're referring to state funds, not federal funds.
Every point that's
Just illegal aliens. It also includes work requirements for people who choose not to work. Again, according to the CBO, which you deny the existence of, apparently.
I'm well aware of it. Republicans deny it. Republicans call for the abolition of the CBO.
Well, you were denying it tonight.
So.
Almost 5 million people.
I've heard you argue against the CBO till you're blue in the
Almost
face.
5
well, red,
million
I guess,
people
would be with you.
who choose not to work.
It's not. That is false. That is like a figment of your imagination.
It's literally right here.
They're not. The percentage of people who choose not to work is less than 1% of
it's
all
not
enrollees.
percentage. I'm giving you
the
numbers.
non-working
It's 4.8
population is
million.
mostly students
It's
and
4.8.
caregivers.
Okay, guys, this is just how down bad the Democrats are. Their arguments have fallen so short, they are so divorced from reality that rather than actually trying to present counterfacts or a counter argument, they're just telling you not to believe your eyes. So he's up here with the actual data, the CBO data, and this is true. You can check it. 1.4 million illegal aliens on Medicaid, 4.8 specifically able-bodied Americans on Medicaid that now have a 20-hour per week work requirement to keep on getting Medicaid. Okay, these are the numbers. These are the real numbers. 1.4 illegal, 4.8 million able-bodied Americans getting Medicaid. What is this dude saying? He's just denying reality. He's just saying, no. That's false. That's fake. No. It's like, dude, these are real numbers from the CBO. Now, I was curious about this. I did some Googling around here today before I went live. According to this, the average Medicaid enrollee costs $7,600 per year. One person on Medicaid costs $7,600 per year. That's the average. That's what I was able to find. Okay, well, if you take 1.4 million illegal aliens on Medicaid, 4.8 million able-bodied Americans on Medicaid, what is that? 6.2 million people that should not be on Medicaid. Multiply that out by 7,600 per person, so 6.2 million times 7,600 per person, because that's what it costs per year. You're looking at, what is that, $47 billion per year worth of Medicaid fraud. $47 billion per year worth of Medicaid fraud between Americans that are leeching off the system. They can work, but they just have decided not to, and all the illegal aliens that are on Medicaid. $47 billion per year. So yeah, thank God this is getting shut down. The free ride is over. The scam is over. Folks, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the Jeffrey Epstein situation now. Like I said earlier today, we have really some breaking news bombshell information regarding the Jeffrey Epstein situation. In fact, it's almost unbelievable. And this is actually developing. I'm sure we have updates over the last hour or so, but let's get caught up here. First thing that must be said, you guys know, if you've been reading my Twitter or watching my live broadcasts over the last couple days, I have been very critical of the way that this Epstein situation has been handled. To say the least, I am not happy. Go ahead and give me a 1 in the live chat as well if you are also not happy about the way that this Epstein situation, I'll call it a cover. It's a cover up. Okay? Not happy about it. In fact, I'm a little bit pissed off, to be honest with you guys. Let's break down the story though. It would seem as if President Trump is also not happy for a multitude of reasons. Take a look at this. One of our, on the right side of the aisle, most trusted pollsters, it's called Rasmussen Reports. This is Mark Mitchell. We like Mark Mitchell, and Rasmussen Reports is, as far as polling Trump voters, there's not a better, more accurate, more precise pollster in the game than Rasmussen. We like Rasmussen. Donald Trump also likes Rasmussen. Donald Trump is always citing and referencing Rasmussen. Okay, we respect Rasmussen. We hold it in high regard. Take a look at this. What did Mark Mitchell, the operator of Rasmussen Reports, he posted earlier today? He said here that Donald Trump has cratered out. The Donald Trump approval rating here has cratered out. He's underwater. If you rewind back to early June, Donald Trump was up big time, and just over the last couple days, he's down big time, cratered out. Now, Mark Mitchell says, is it because of the big, beautiful bill? Is it because of the Elon Musk drama? Is it because of Epstein? Why? He doesn't say. I think it's kind of fair to say that it's probably the Epstein thing. A lot of people, I don't know if you guys have been looking around on YouTube, looking around on Twitter, looking around on X, as it's called. This Epstein stuff, guys, people are pissed. People are pissed off, and I think it's right. I think that's fair. I think people should be pissed off. However, right now we're starting to see reports come out all over the place. I'm seeing different accounts talking about this. It's sort of in the realm of whispers and murmurs right now. We are hearing, and it's going to make more sense here in just a moment. Hear me out. We are hearing that Donald Trump is pissed off at the way that this Epstein situation was handled, the way it was carried out, the way this information was released, and that the information that was released, the dismissal of the case, that wasn't even the plan, and that Trump was blindsided by this. This was not President Trump's plan. Word on the block right now is that President Trump is pissed and that he has actually directly ordered Pam Bondi to start releasing these files. Okay, well, what happened earlier today? If we're saying that's kind of in the realm of hearsay, let's talk about reality. This is news from earlier this morning. The DOJ has reported to Tom Fitton, who is the president of Judicial Watch, okay, trustworthy source. The DOJ has reported that it is still reviewing the Epstein records for possible release, per Judicial Watch. So as a consequence of all of this terrible, bad press, everybody's pissed off at the Trump administration right now. Everybody's pissed off at Pam Bondi. A lot of people are pissed off at Trump himself. Allegedly, according to Judicial Watch, as of a couple hours ago, the DOJ is now actually open again to reviewing the Epstein records and releasing them at some point in the future. Maybe this is back on the table. Maybe they are going back 180-degree reversal. Maybe. Let's see what other people are talking about this year. Maybe things are coming around again. We're going to hear from Alan Dershowitz, who is Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer. What does he say about this entire situation? Take a look.
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed, and they're being suppressed to protect individuals.
Alan Dershowitz, Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, is saying right here, as this is earlier today, he knows documents are being suppressed. He has seen them. Take a listen.
I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
He knows the names, he knows the places, he knows the when, he knows the why. He knows it all. He has seen them. He is Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, his defense attorney, I believe, before he died. He's seen a lot of this stuff because he was also at one point accused as well, because he was an affiliate, a business associate of Epstein. He was his lawyer. So he was in the firing, he was in the crosshair at one point also. He's saying, listen, there is a cover-up. He's coming out. Listen, guys, there is a cover-up.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money, and those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed, and they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one.
I think so. And so then you have to think, okay, well, why are we not getting that? Why are we not getting total, complete, and total transparency? No redactions. Why? Well, I mean, it's because it's a good old-fashioned government cover-up. It's because the deep state, maybe the Trump administration themselves, who knows, somebody has made the determination, if this information gets released, if this stuff gets put out, and the American people know, then everything comes crumbling down. You know, there are so many big names on this client list, inside the files, proof, evidence, guilty, case closed. They did it. You know that information is there, that if this gets out, if people know, then everything goes, everything goes to hell, right? So this might complicate, or this might implicate, relations that we have with other countries. Keep in mind, it might not just be people within our own government. Senators, congressmen, whatever, people in the administration. It might be people in other governments. It might be people in Saudi Arabia or Israel, or hypothetically, could Netanyahu be on the list? Could the Saudi Arabian crown prince be on the list? Would that make sense? Why the Trump admin is trying to suppress the list right now? I mean, they are suppressing it. They are. Let's be honest. Let's be adults about this. It would do a lot of damage to a lot of those relationships if this information were to get out. Absolutely. I mean, we already know for a fact we have a member of the British royal family, who's on the list. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. Well, actually, you know what? While we're talking about that, take a look at this. This is the FBI earlier today. Earlier today, FBI says Prince Andrew is free to travel abroad officially again, as the FBI has officially ended its probe into Prince Andrew's Jeffrey Epstein links. The FBI, as of a couple hours ago, is done looking at him. They said, you're free to go. You're free to go, Prince Andrew. Case closed. That's coming out of the FBI just a couple hours ago. News today. Now, it's weird because as this is all happening today, just the last couple hours, as the FBI has closed the probe into Prince Andrew, the DOJ is coming out and saying, per Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch, trustworthy guy, by the way, trustworthy source here, this guy here, he's saying the DOJ is actually open to reviewing the Epstein records and releasing them. So we're hearing one thing from the DOJ. We're hearing one thing from the FBI. The FBI is moving on. The DOJ is actually maybe turning around and moving back, reopening the case. And we're also hearing from a lot of people that President Trump is pissed that none of this has gone according to President Trump's plan. This has been handled terribly, that President Trump is very upset about all of this right now. Let's keep listening to what Alan Dershowitz had to say. Let's wrap this up.
I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and with.
So Alan Dershowitz wants everything to be released. This is Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer. He wants it all out there. We have a big super chat here from frickin' Brian. Hey, thank you very much. He says, I don't care who is on the list. This is the biggest human trafficking operation in history. It's a horrible and disgusting crime. The entire world deserves to know every bit of truth. Those 1,000 victims deserve justice. Yeah, I mean, this is a good segue into something else we're going to talk about here in a minute. In fact, here it is right here. Let me play the clip. Brian, I think you're going to like this. And then I'm going to double back to what you had to say.
I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye, on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they may be. I talked to...
Okay, so what he's saying is that the entire situation goes up in flames. Everybody on the list goes up in flames if the list comes out. Listen, I'm not a professional here. I'm just a guy in a room with a webcam and a microphone. Here's my opinion. Okay, I'm an American. I'm an American taxpayer. I guess my opinion matters for something, I guess. But, you know, they've got to bring charges on people that are guilty. They've got if they don't want to release the list, because keep in mind, what he's saying here is true. What O'Reilly said here is true. Not every person that ever had some small interaction with Epstein is guilty of all of this terrible stuff. Okay, a lot of Epstein was a well-connected socialite billionaire for 20 years. He was genuinely very well-connected. He was charismatic. He was going to the parties and the cocktail mixers. He was going to people's golf courses. Not every person that ever met this guy or had lunch with him or went to a cocktail party with him, not every person that met him is a sexual predator. That's a reality that we need to acknowledge. Okay. So if that is one of the arguments to not release Epstein's black book or whatever, okay, fine. So what do they need to do instead? They need to actually pursue criminal charges. They need to determine who's guilty and who's innocent. And we all know there are people that are guilty. Even if 95% of people that ever met Epstein, they're on the Epstein list, even if 95% are innocent, you need to pursue that 5% that are not innocent. You got to bring those people to justice. I'll meet you there. I agree with you. Not every person on the list or in the files is guilty. I think every intelligent person understands that. However, some of them are. Hold them accountable. Shut them down. That's it. That's it. Okay. I don't want to play this here. And we had a super chat here. Prince Andrew, former Prime Minister of Israel, other heads of state, and most likely truthers of Congress are on the list. I think. I don't know who specific. I don't want to. I guess speculate on who specifically. This guy, that guy. Well, Prince Andrew, of course. But you know, I think you're right in concept. There are a lot of people, and that is why this cover up is happening. In fact, you guys might notice here, guys, are the Democrats right now going hard on the Epstein list? This would be such an easy slam dunk for the Democrats right now to say, everybody, look, Donald Trump lied to you. Donald Trump, he said he was going to release the list, and then he's covering it up, the evil President Trump. Are the Democrats saying that right now? No, the Democrats are silent. The Democrats are not pushing that narrative. They're not touching it with a 10-foot stick. Why? It's because they're in on it. It's because they're in on it. That's why they're silent. You know, they love him. Every single opportunity they have, they will try to tear him down and trash talk this guy, whatever they can do. They're not touching this one, though. What's up with that? They're in on it. They're just as much a part of this as everybody else is. They're playing coverage here. You know. Let me take a look here. Adam C. Matt, don't be a coward. I'm a coward. Tell your viewers about the joint SAR lawsuit against Trump and Epstein by the 16-year-old girl. Frankly, I have never heard about that. I'll look into that later. I don't know. I'll look into it, I guess. I haven't heard about that. Thank you, though. I appreciate the super chat. Ed Gidcom, $20 super chat, says Q post 999. Way more horrible stuff than barely legal girl abuse went on Epstein properties, adrenochrome harvesting and drinking. These people are evil. I by the way, call me a conspiracy theorist. I think, you know, if you want to talk about sexually abusing minors being a really bad thing, it is. It is. And I think you should get the death sentence for that, frankly. I think there were even worse stuff. I'm with you. I think that's just the beginning of what was going on in some of these properties. The New York City penthouse, the island. I think some like evil, demonic, satanic, ritualistic type stuff. Beyond just disgusting sexual profanity, I think literal demonic, satanic, evil stuff was going on. I'm with you. I agree with you. I think you're right. And so I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. Big time. Not voting in the midterms if the files are not released. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. Thank you for that one also. Steve Bannon chimes in on this. What does Steve Bannon say?
They have to go and demand. They have to go to the court and demand and unseal the sealed evidence in Epstein. It starts there. Then bundle everything together. You got sealed and unsealed, and release it all. Or, which I've called for yesterday, he should appoint a special prosecutor, special counsel now for the 2020 election and everything after that, and include Russiagate and all this. You have to do that. That should be done immediately, and that should report to the President of the United States. And also, they should do one if DOJ can't move off the dime, and the FBI can't move off the dime, there should be a special counsel to go through everything and release it all. It seems to me like a binary function, right?
Okay. I agree with Bannon. Special counsel, put the Epstein files in front of Congress, let Congress sort it out. It's a bipartisan thing. Everybody tear it apart, go through it, release it to the public, do it publicly. Okay, here's the deal. You guys remember we had a recent special counsel after January 6th. There was the special counsel. It was called the January 6th Council in order to try to investigate Trump's involvement in insurrection. That was a recent big special counsel event we had in Congress. Now, here's the deal. You can't just summon a special counsel. Only one person can do it. There's only one person in the country that can call forth a congressional special counsel. Who is it? Well, it's the Attorney General. The Attorney General. No Attorney General sign off. If the Attorney General doesn't call for it, there's no special counsel. Okay, who's the Attorney General right now? It's Pam Bondi. Is Pam Bondi going to call a special counsel, a congressional special counsel, to rip the Epstein files apart publicly and put them in front of Congress, a bipartisan effort to get this stuff in front of the American people? Is Pam Bondi going to do that? Wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on it. Because right now, Pam Bondi seems to be doing a lot of nothing right now. So, I like in concept, I agree with Steve Bannon here. Yeah, special counsel, get it out there. We got to get the stuff out. But right now, Pam Bondi seems to be one of the big roadblocks at the moment. You know, I'm sure there's deep state stuff going on behind the scenes, and maybe she's just a figurehead, and she's not really the shot caller. She's a puppet. There's stronger entities behind the picture. Okay, I sure, fine, but still. If she's not putting the stuff in front of us now already, given the current circumstances, is she going to call a special counsel to get this stuff out here in front of Congress, in front of the American people? No way. I do not trust her to do that. So in concept, I agree. No more secrecy. I agree, he says. I agree. Is it going to happen? I'm not exactly optimistic. However, let me sit here and argue with myself like a schizophrenic person. Going back to the point we said a moment ago, according to Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, the DOJ is saying that they are open to reviewing the Epstein records for possible release. This is news from a couple hours ago, trustworthy news from a couple hours ago. Dude, who the hell knows what is going on right now? We also saw, once again, the FBI is letting Prince Andrew of the British royal family off the hook. Case is closed. You're free to go, Prince Andrew. No wrongdoing. The probe is over. What the hell is going on? And then also we're hearing a lot of rumors, once again, that President Trump is pissed. He's not happy with the way this has gone at all. He's pissed, is what we're hearing right now. Who knows? Maybe President Trump is maybe he did get blindsided by this. Keep in mind this 2-page memo regarding this Jeffrey Epstein thing that came out 3-4 days ago now, the joint memo between the DOJ and the FBI. This memo was released in the dead of night. It was released to Axios, which is a far left media news outlet, historically anti-Trump outlet. And also, there's no signatory. Nobody signed off on that. You don't know who wrote this. We know it is a joint memo from FBI and DOJ. Neither of those entities have denied the veracity or the reality of this memo. Neither has said no, this is fake news. President Trump and Pam Bondi actually directly talked about it at the cabinet meeting 2 days ago. And so we know the memo is real. We know the memo is real. We know this is real. But why was it leaked without any signatory? Who drafted this thing? Who released it? Why did it go to Axios and only Axios in the dead of night? Guys, what the hell's going on here? Now the DOJ is saying maybe they're going to reopen this. The FBI seems like maybe they're done. Guys, President Trump is pissed right now. I think the only conclusion we can make at the moment is that right now there's somewhat of a civil war going on behind the scenes. Do you guys think that's the case within the Trump admin? I'm sure you have different factions in the admin saying we got to release it. No, we got to cover it up. We got to shut it down. No, we got to open it back up. You've got other deep state agents, who knows, CIA, FBI, different actors within these entities, maybe even foreign intelligence involved as well, saying, listen, open it up. No, shut it down. Shut it down. Open it up. There's a struggle going on. You can kind of vibe that out. You can suss it out. There is a struggle going on behind the scenes right now. Who's going to come out on top? I don't know. It does seem like Trump was blindsided by this. This memo getting released at the time it got released, in the way that it got released, I do not think that was part of the plan. That was not part of the plan. Also, this memo got released after a solid week of nonstop Trump victory. He got the big, beautiful bill passed. He wrapped up the Iranian situation. Everybody's kind of victory pumping. Yeah, we got the bill. We're done in the Middle East. It's over. Trump ratings are through the roof. Everybody's happy. Everybody's pretty happy. Boom. Epstein memo. Boom. In the dead of night, Epstein memo, no signatory. It throws a wrench in the entire thing. What is going on here? And it went to Axios, once again, one of the biggest anti-Trump news outlets that there is. What is going on here? And I don't know. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys. That is the end of today's show. Listen, I don't have a nice conclusion to this. Nobody has a nice conclusion. All I can do is try to give you guys the information. But that is going to be a wrap for today's show. We're going to come back tomorrow. Hey, any new breaking developments, we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to break it down again. And again, we're not done. We're going to keep on talking about all of this stuff, daily news updates. I'll be back here day after day after day. I'm not going anywhere. So thank you guys very much for tuning in today. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please make sure to like the video down below. I appreciate all of you guys very, very much. Oh, you know what? I made a promise. I promised you guys something here. I did make a promise to you guys. All right. Okay. Hey, let me go get that puppy. I'm going to get the puppy here. Let me put down my green screen. Take a look. Look at that. Okay. Let me go find the pup. I don't know where the puppy is. Let me go find the puppy. I'll bring him out and I'll show you. Give me one moment here. Ugh. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is little Argos. I kind of woke him up from a nap here, so maybe he's a little bit sleepy. He's a very good boy. Oh, look at how cute this little puppy is. He is a 13-week-old, long-haired German Shepherd puppy. Yep, yeah, I know. And he loves to nibble. He's been chewing on our feet and chewing on my big nose. He's been ripping the kids apart. The kids are we've got a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son, and they're getting very well. The puppy and the kids are getting along. They're kind of figuring each other out. They're learning how to navigate the house around each other. We're learning that it's not okay to bite the kids or nibble on the kids, right? Yeah. We don't nibble on the kids. And we are also learning how to not pee in the house. That's a difficult thing to learn how to do. We're learning to not poop on the carpet. It takes time. We all have accidents. Sometimes we poop on the carpet. But anyway, folks, look at just how cute he is. Guys, I'm gonna wrap up the broadcast. Thank you all very, very. Oh, we're doing it. Look at that. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I appreciate it, guys. I will be back tomorrow. In fact, I'm going to get to work immediately on a video for you guys talking about some tariff stuff. We're talking about tariffs in today's video. I need to get to work on that. And so I will see you folks later today with the video. Tomorrow we have a live broadcast. I hope everybody here has a great afternoon.